Good evening and welcome to the New York Times Review of Books and National Review. This evening we will be discussing 1968 novel Horatius, written as a Star Trek novel in 1968 by Mack Reynolds, illustrated by Sparky Moore. Joining me this evening on the panel is Robert McCullough. Robert, I understand it's a day of some note in your life. Perhaps you'll tell us about it and give us a few introductory notes.
Thank you, Butch. Yeah, today is my 51st birthday, and I'm excited to be on the New England Journal of Medicine panel on Star Trek, whatever the hell you were talking about there.
Yeah, sorry. We always try to do the highbrow for the literary reviews. You know, it's like
we try to lose the audience in the first 5 seconds before
they're like, "What the hell is this?" I'm out. I'm not even giving that a chance. It doesn't matter. So because this is important work, and someday it'll be archived in the Library of Congress. That's how you know you made it, right? When they archive it in the Library of Congress. And this one is destined for that because nobody else is writing reviews of Mission to Horatius. We are listing it as Journey to Bantam number 5. It's wrong for several reasons. First of all, this is not a Bantam book. I don't even know what this publishing company is. I think it was published, through a back door somewhere. I don't see a publishing company anywhere on this. This has a Paramount logo on it. Flipping through here. Pocket Books. It's a Pocket Books. So that's interesting. Not to be confused with Penguin Books or Bantam Books. It's a Pocket Books.
Butch, is yours a reprint or is it the 1968?
Mine says that it's, well, if it is, so it says it's a 1968 copyright, but the foreword says, so it's 1970. And I'm 8 years old. So I'm assuming that it means it's a reprint, right? So, because it talks about somebody being 1970 and 8 years old. So I'm assuming it's not written in 68 if the foreword was written in 70.
My copy is actually a 1968 copy.
Ooh. Well, we should.
So let me grab it.
Yeah, I will do that. While you do that, I will discuss. So it's important to realize that unlike the other 4 novels we've done so far, all of which were published posthumously to the TV series, this book was published in March of 1968, which is during season 2 of the original Star Trek, right around mid-season in season 2, right? The season would start, well, I guess it's near the end. But the important thing is there's a few episodes that came out in season 2 and all of season 3 after this book. So they quote like the star date in here, and it's like 34 something, So it's set somewhere. So when we think of, you and I grew up on Star Trek, it had already completed its run before any of us started watching it, before any of us were even born.
Before we were born.
Right. So when we come in, all of the characters are fully formed, and there have been a decade of people who are speculating on all of these episodes and stuff like that, and reading them, and reading the novelizations and watching the episodes over and over on syndication on evening television and late afternoon after school television and stuff like that. But these guys were writing these, and it's funny because some of the novels that we've read that are like that came out years after the series was over didn't seem to have a full grasp on the characters in some cases. These guys are literally writing, they're writing based off probably a couple episodes of Chekhov, right? I mean, if this came out in March and the episodes debuted in September of 67, and this came out in March of 68, these guys are writing, and they have heard of a character, Chekhov, but they probably have only seen him in a handful of episodes, right? So we don't even get like Pompadour Scotty. They've never seen Pompadour Scotty. They've never seen the Romulan commander.
Yeah, there's an illustration in here of Chekhov, and he does not look like Chekhov.
Yeah, there's a lot of illustrations in there. I don't know who Sparky is. Hey, come here, Sparky. You're going to illustrate this book. Yeah. It's like,
So my book, Butch, was owned by Monette Mail, Mehl, and she wrote 12/31/69 in the inside cover.
Oh, got it for New Year's Eve. That's very exciting.
So that's before I was born. I bought it. It looks like 12/22 of 2012. So it was copyrighted, this book was produced by the Whitman Publishing division of the Western Publishing Company Incorporated, Racine, Wisconsin.
Oh, so when I'm looking at this Pocket Books, version. That's a later version that was presumably bought the rights to a reprint, and now they're reprinting
So
it. Yeah.
yeah, what I read was in the '90s. I read this week, but in the '90s, this book was showing up at conventions and people selling for like $50 a crack, and the copyright had run out or whatever, so they did a reprint.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, it's just fascinating. The idea that this was like bootleg kind of material and stuff like that, in conventions. Like, hey, some guy with a trench coat. Hey, I got what you need over here. Come here, buddy. $20, you can have this book right here. Yeah, it's like people are just.
Well, and it is fun with the illustrations and stuff too. I mean,
yeah, it felt a little like a choose your own adventure book a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of very strange. And it is written for what appears to be a younger audience than some of the books we've read already. Certainly younger audience than at least Spock Messiah, for crying out loud.
yeah,
it didn't feel like Spocksploitation or anything in this case.
Yeah,
like that.
I was talking to Brett about the books tonight when he came over, my son, and I was like, the Bantam ones were a little bananas.
Yeah.
We haven't got to the one yet where Spock's going to mind meld with a giant ant. We've had Spock, banging cocktail waitresses 2 at a time, and Spock Messiah.
Yep.
We had the Klingons getting erased basically for the next 1,000 years.
1,000 years, yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of water under the bridge, yeah. So it
was anything goes in the 70s.
That's exactly right.
So,
but this is the swinging.
That.
This is the swinging 60s, right? Which is interesting because we get, as weird as it is, reading this book, it comes across a little bit like a more of a modern video game, right? So it's like there's like there's 3 different levels. And there's a boss at the end of each level that they have to beat, and then there's an epilogue, and then there's a boss on the epilogue that they have to beat, and the boss is a rat. And I'm not lying. It's not like a humanoid like alien rat. It's a rat, brown rat. So that's kind of fun. I was really prepared to like throw this book out the window and say, how did these authors make such a stupendous error in plotting a book when we're near the end of this, and then they kind of rescued me by saying, "Oh, I get it. I get what's going on." But we'll get there because it was like, how could they not even understand all this? But of course, they do. It's the character, so I will not get into it now. Instead, we'll talk about. We see some familiar faces. We already mentioned that we see Chekhov. Chekhov has a bigger role in this than all the other books we've read combined. I think it's not exactly what I would call. A glamorous role. He's basically playing the role of that guy who like tries to pull a phaser on the high tier, and gets like the little in the chest and stuff like that.
We have seen Chekhov act like that in some episodes too.
He's a hothead. Yeah.
And we saw that in Star Trek V.
That's right, exactly. And we get a little bit of My Poor Baron Scotty a few times. Bones is probably more cantankerous in this than anything else we've read or maybe even seen. I mean, he's like, I order you to get out there and play on that seesaw and swing on that swing. Catch me 3.
I didn't think it was too egregious with any of the characters. Are they a little off?
No, not. Sure. I think. I mean, they're fitting with what we know, right? Scotty's concerned about his engines. McCoy's cantankerous about. How come we're being ordered to do this crap again and stuff like that? It's funny. It's not every Star Trek story that hinges on how many guitar strings does Uhura have left. I'll say that.
Yeah,
and
the musical piece that was key to her character back then.
Yeah, and is DePaul tired of playing canasta? Has he had enough canasta? Did these? Yeah, so we'll get into some of that, but it's really interesting. We get a little bit of Chapel. We find out Chapel had several degrees in diseases and all that, and health and all that stuff. So that's interesting. We even get at the very end some Yeoman Janice Rand. Well, not the very end, I guess near the very end in episode 3.
I appreciate the fact that I knew the names of most of the characters. They weren't throwing these brand new people.
Oh, but there is one that we get thrown at us, right? It's Yeoman Doris Atkins, who, by the way, It's funny. So they introduce her as Yeoman Doris Atkins, and then the next 3 times they say her name, and they say, and Yeoman Doris Atkins says this. And then from then on, it's like they're more familiar. They're saying, hey, Sula's over there doing this, Kirk's over there doing this, Spock's over there doing this, and Doris Atkins is over. Why the first name, last name? And again, I'm sad to say she's wearing red, but I'm imagining her wearing blue. Is it wrong that I'm imagining her in the blue dress? She's not as sexed up as the girl in Spock Messiah was, but you get a feeling she's eye candy. So
yeah, and you have to make sure that you're not confusing her with Morris Atkins, who's also a junior officer in the security department. So I can see why they're giving the Doris for sure. I like the
Morris and Doris. Is that it? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm glad that the name Doris has survived to the 23rd century. I'll say that.
Yep.
Because it didn't survive to the 21st
century. It did not. That's the thing. I mean, you can really date stories sometimes based on what they name the characters. I'll put it this way. If they name the characters, if this book was written in 2010, they'd be like Chloe's and Caitlin's. Let's just put it that way, right?
It would be Hayden's, Aiden's, and Caitlin's.
Yeah, if it's 2000, it'd be Olivia's and Isabel's. So it's funny. Doris. When was Doris a thing? I guess.
Well, I don't know. When was Janice? I don't hear a lot either.
That's exactly right. We had 2 Janices in the original Star Trek. So usually I like to point out new and interesting villains. We get 3 bosses in this movie. If you don't count Mickey, we get 3 bosses, 1 on each of the planets, and they're all kind of interesting. We'll talk about them in turn. There's a few callbacks to some other episodes, but honestly, since about half the episodes didn't exist when they made this, if they're not doing callbacks, that's probably okay. You know what I mean? So we don't have any Organian mentions this time.
Butch, did you Butchipedia this and how Roddenberry didn't like it and all that?
No.
Stuff?
Why don't you tell us about that?
So I guess this novelization came out and Roddenberry didn't like it, and he thought there was a lot of errors and like I'll say racial descriptions of the crew that he didn't appreciate.
Interesting.
And so he said, you know what, I'm paraphrasing the Wikipedia article that anybody can look up, but he said, I would rather blow this deal than have my show, our product, bastardized. And so he sent them lists of some changes. They made some. He still wasn't overjoyed about it. And I think that's why this is a one-off book.
Yeah, it was the one and done, right? Exactly. So it's really weird picking up a book and seeing no name of an author on the title. It's like, did they used to make books like that? Where it was like, a book and nobody knows who it's by. You have to look really hard to find out who it's by inside, that kind of thing. So,
but we've read, I'll say this as a spoiler, we have read worse books already.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely a spoiler. It's as much as Roddenberry says, I didn't really appreciate some of the characterizations and they didn't quite get everything right. Clearly, at least they know Scotty doesn't have red hair. So we got that already down for sure.
We're off to a better... Yeah, it's not Leif Erikson down in engineering.
Yeah. So there's that. So, but anyway, I think it's interesting. We can get into it if you want to. You're the birthday boy today, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. I think Rob already mentioned Rob turned 51 years old today. So this is our celebratory. What else are you gonna do? What better way to end your birthday after all the stuff you've done today? Naps,
instead of
breakfast, and all this stuff.
Instead of wrapping things up with my wife, I wanted to podcast about Mission Horatius.
Yeah. That's exactly right. So here we are, Star Trek noveling. We're noveling. Okay, so here we go.
We're noveling.
So of course the first these chapters are named, and also you want to know what's really surprising? There are not a lot of chapters in this book. Is it 9 or 10 chapters in this book, which is kind of interesting. It's 200 pages long.
I will say, Butch, I always like it when they name chapters.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I think it's always a good thing, right?
Yeah, and I liked in the introduction, I had never really thought about how far a parsec is or why it was called a parsec in my whole life.
Well, tell us about it.
In the introduction, the author gives the distance of a parsec as 3.262 light years or 19.2 trillion miles.
That's a lot of miles.
It stands for something second. What's the par? I forgot. I can just open the book.
Well, so I'll tell you what. It's interesting to say. You want to know how big that is? It's more mile. It used to be more miles than we had dollars in the national debt.
Yeah.
Damn it! It's not even bigger than our national debt anymore in miles. Well, that's not fair.
But I looked up parsec. He wasn't talking out of his ass. That is what a parsec is and how far it is.
Well, I mean, that's interesting because, right, it's like, why not go ahead and, if you're going to write a book, why not go ahead and, I guess back then they couldn't just open up Wikipedia. They had to, like, look it up or ask a scientist or something. You find out what the actual terminology you would use, parsecs, right? Exactly. So light years, we would normally talk about light years and stuff, but it's okay. It's definitely an actual scientific term.
Yeah, a little over 13 light years. So that's a long ways.
So here we are at chapter.
A little over 3. I mean, a little over 3 light years.
3.2, not 13.2, but 3.2 parsecs. Yeah, and it's important because the Millennium Falcon made the Kessel run in 12.3 parsecs or something like that.
I never understood that. Even as a kid, I was like, I thought a parsec was distance.
Well, it is, but that's because they completely got it wrong. Because Star Wars is fantasy and Star Trek is science fiction. So
that's right.
There you go. So Secret Mission is the chapter 1 title, and Bones is in a snit. It turns out all missions and no shore leave make Sulu go crazy, or something along those lines. The ship is in need of what do you call it? Some reconditioning, and is out of supplies like drugs and chemicals and decaf
They're long
coffee.
Overdue for a starbase.
Yeah, long overdue apparently. And they're like, we just stopped at a starbase. Like, it's not the same. Darn it, we need fresh air, Times Square. Talking horse, or wait a minute, am I mixing up Green Acres and Mr. Ed? It doesn't matter. They need some of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and that is consistent with the show, right? Hey, we need a shore leave planet. We need to walk around and smell the air and listen to the birds chirp.
We actually got to go on the shore leave with them one time, so we know they went at least once on shore leave, and it didn't seem really relaxing. I mean, they had a pretty high body count for shore leave, I'm assuming.
I don't know. So. McCoy was probably relaxed by the end of it.
Probably. he had shore leave with release, I'm guessing. So you said about parsec, I learned another word, the dreaded cafard. That's what McCoy's worried about, is cafard, which, by the way, cafard is defined as melancholia or depression. But he's talking about space cafard.
It's a specific kind of melancholia or depression that's brought about by inactivity, it's like what we're all experiencing right now in 2021.
Jesus Christ. I need to be put in the stasis. It feels like it was put in stasis.
You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. Your guitar strings are snapping. I thought that was pretty timely. And
it's
it leads
exactly
to
right.
kind of space madness. For being a book written for adolescents, I mean, we got some words in here that, we're getting cafard, ennui, all these words, right?
Ennui is a good word. That's exactly right. So, so Bones thinks that they're spending too much time, space cafard, he just kind of describes as like a contagious mental illness from not enough time kicking shit in pastures or something. So, but instead of doing that, they're going to end up chasing a distress call from NGC 400, which is a long ways away. And so they'll, but again, as often happens, they're the only ship in the sector. They gotta be the one to go out there. And McCoy is strenuously arguing, and so he's like, "Well, you're overruled." Anyway, Scotty, warp 7. Scotty's like, Here's the thing. I mean, the engines kind of needed some shore leave. They haven't had enough time kicking shit in pastures either. So I recommend warp 6. He's like, all right, fine, warp 6. Which the irony of that is that warp 6 is going to take them longer to get there, which is going to make the cafard worse. But, it's one of those 6 of one, half dozen of another things.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in chapter 1. They describe Spock as supposedly emotionless, which is a good description of Spock, right? They're doing the classic, we're overdue for a break. It says they've been on continuous patrol for a year.
Yep.
In the 5-year mission. That's crazy. We get the secret orders that you're going to open, once you get to your destination. That's always good for some suspense right out of the gate. I thought it was a great first chapter. I enjoyed the setup of this mission.
Yeah, it's pretty good setup and stuff and I think it's great. And by the way, we also meet Sulu's bulge in his uniform.
Oh my!
Which turns out is an animal that he found on Deep Space 4, which is the station they stopped, or maybe it was Deep Space 8. I can't remember. It's a multiple of 4 of some sort. So, and they found it there, and he's starting his exotic animal collection, and he's keeping it on his. I'm imagining it's kind of like a ferret with a unicorn horn, and orange and white fur is kind of what I'm imagining
For
it
sure.
is. Don't put it in the transporter kind of a thing. So that's kind of interesting that we get that little detail. So then chapter 2, Kirk says, "Well, the orders of my
what's chapter 2 called?"
Oh, chapter 2, mystery plus mystery. Thank you.
Yeah.
So chapter 2, he said, Kirk says, "The orders are in my cabin. Mr. Chekhov, go to my cabin and get the orders." That seems weird. It's like, whatever. Don't they have like one of those little, what do you call it, signature things, doesn't have on their clipboard? I guess it gives him time to fill out the fuel consumption reports while Chekhov runs down and gets it. So he comes back with it, and it's Horatius. That's where they're going. Horatius, named for a Roman hero, don't tell the Romulans. And the signal was a mystery in of itself. It's in Earth Basic, whatever that means. I'm assuming that means English, or maybe Morse code in English. Apparently, there was a freighter long ago that was going somewhere. We're talking maybe 100 years before. So they don't really specify. They don't even really remember. But whatever it is, it fell into something called underspace. Again, I think black hole is what they're going for, but maybe 1960. There were black holes. We heard a black hole mentioned
maybe a wormhole,
season
maybe? 1.
Yeah, maybe something like that. It fell into underspace and ended up on the far edges of known space. In a system, Horatius, that must be the star, that has 3 planets. And we already know about the planets from the distress call. They're Neolithia, Mithra, and Bavaria. By the way, I already know, at this point, I've read the word Bavaria, and I already know where they're going with this.
Yeah.
Bavaria. Oh, really? Is that like Bavaria? Maybe. Okay. I think I can get where this is going.
It's like Leavenworth in Washington. Where they were. Have you ever been there, Butch?
I've been through Leavenworth. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a town where the town was dying in like the 40s, and they said, "You know what? Let's pretend like we're a German town."
Yes.
And so they just did it. Named all the restaurants and streets after German names. And now it's probably one of the biggest tourist traps in the state of Washington.
And they hire girls with blonde pigtails, and the girls all walk around saying they're Inga from Sweden, and they're like, "No, but you're wearing lederhosen." No, but you're wearing lederhosen. Anyway.
Yeah. So but Bavaria was pretty subtle. By the way, did you like the Romulan Confederation? I was like, it's not the Star Empire? What's going on?
Yeah, I think, when did it become the Romulan Star Empire? I don't think they mentioned Romulan Star Empire in the series.
Terror, did you?
What's that? I don't remember.
They called it that in Balance of Terror.
It's possible. I mean, Romulan Confederation, that does seem wrong. I, of course, remember from my days of playing Starfleet Battles, the game with the ship counters and stuff like that, that it was the Lyran Confederation or something like that, or whatever. So there was not to be confused, the Interstellar Concordium and all those, the Orion Syndicate.
Well, and like you said, Butch, back then, this guy's probably going off a memory of the Star Trek episodes he's seen in the past year.
Yep.
Right? He's probably not consulting anything.
At best, it's like, what do you have? It's like you can't go back and bring them up on CBS All Access or your DVD collection or something like that.
Yeah.
So here's
a lot of my Hitchcock books, books about Hitchcock films.
Yeah.
Like the ones written by, some of the French film critics and stuff, and Robin Wood and stuff. They would sometimes misquote lines from movies like Vertigo because they're going off of when they saw them. You can't just go pick up a copy and rent it.
Yeah.
Or view it again.
You can't just Google the script and look at the script and stuff like that. Watch a scene over and over again, frame by frame, to see what's going on and stuff like that. I mean, we really do have a hard time in the 21st century understanding of what people who used to consume media were like. If you didn't see a movie in the theater, you're out of luck unless they show it on the CBS Thursday Night Movie. I mean, that's the
Right.
reason that I reading those Star Trek books that we have, that These Are the Voyages books. It's funny how Star Trek got killed in the ratings over and over again by the Thursday night movie and stuff like that, because those movies, people like those movies, and that's the only way they can see those movies is if they were re-released in the theater or shown on TV. And it's like, if you don't watch it that night, that's your shot. You couldn't even record it because you don't got a VCR, because VCRs don't exist yet in '68. And so, yeah, it's pretty interesting to think how different it is now in a world where it's like, what do you mean my computer's taking time, it has lag while it's showing me a 4K, restoration of a scene from Star Trek episode, season 2, episode 13, for crying out loud. I got too much time, too many things to do with myself that I don't have enough time to wait for that. They're just people today. They don't know. So speaking of having a lot of time, so it's going to take months for our good ship Enterprise to get to Horatius, and McCoy is having kittens. He's like, God damn it, Jim, get J.J. Abrams on the phone, or some shit like that. We can be there in 6 minutes. Hold on, here comes J.J. Abrams. We'll do it for you in 6 minutes. No, too soon. Okay.
No, I love it. I like Genesis crossover JJ Genesis.
There you go. So it's funny. Then we get a little bit of a scene in I'm guessing the rec hall, and there you remember Lieutenant DePaul, not to be confused with DeSalle. This is DePaul, the other one. I think DePaul is the one that's black on the left side and white on the right side, and DeSalle is the other one. So I think that's how I have it, if I'm not mistaken. Right. So and he's tired of playing. I don't want to play any more canasta. I'm done with the card games. They're talking about tri-die shows, which I think mean 3-dimensional movies. I think 3D movies, I think, is what they mean. Can you imagine how cool a 3D movie would have been? It takes 23rd century technology to make a 3D movie, as you know.
Well, they don't even have it as good as we have it now, right? They can't go consult. Like, I can watch just on Netflix this giant, vast amount of stuff, and they're all like running out. I've already read all the books in the library 3 times. Yeah,
I mean that's exactly the thing. I mean, how big a library do they have? My house, I couldn't read all the books in just my living room in 3 years. Let alone 1 year. So it's pretty crazy. But the important thing is, has nobody ever told him about Catan or Risk or Nintendo 64 or anything
Grand
like
Theft
that?
Auto 5.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Yeah, but anyway, the important thing is, what do they got? They got her and her guitar, except ding, she's breaking guitar strings, and of course,
and not to spoil anything, they're going to lose the last ping pong ball later on. I mean, they're really hurt.
That's so great. Yeah, Sulu and his over exuberance breaking balls. Did they know already?
You're busting my balls over.
Did they know already? Okay, so this is important. They finally arrive, and they get no response from the first planet they go to, which is Neolithia. And I never studied Latin, but I already pretty much know. Yeah, that's probably the caveman one, isn't it? Neolithia. Okay, maybe that's why you're not getting anybody. So anyway. That's chapter 2. So what's chapter 3?
Well, I know it's time for a landing party, right? So it's called Back to the Stone Age. They beam down and they see some engines, Butch.
Engines, yes.
Sorry,
I thought you said engines for a second. I was like, no, they did not. No engines on this planet. Engines, no. Yes. First peoples, yes.
Yes, they beam down. They see that someone, and he counts coup on them. Right, comes up, whacks one of them in the head with the stick,
that's right.
Gives a hoop and a holler, and rides away. And he's like some kind of teenager. We learned that the inhabitants rejected modern Earth life, and so they dialed it back.
Yeah, they did.
They end up going into this. Do they follow the kid into the cave, I think?
Well, yeah, eventually they, again, Chekhov is a little quick on the trigger finger. I think he phasers the kid and knocks the kid off the horse, and the horse runs away, so they have to bring the kid around. And then the kid's all very much, my people are going to kick your ass whenever they find you. You are dead meat because you're the people from the sky that keep coming down and raiding our people. So now that we got you, we're going to do something to you.
Right.
Yeah. So, and of course, this is I did write down. By the way, this is back to the Stone Age, and we meet our Queen of the Stone Age in this. It's Yeoman Doris Atkins, as I mentioned already.
Nice.
Yes, she's the Queen of the Stone Age. And you could tell that our good buddy, the youth, we're going to call him a youth. We don't know his age, but we assume he's not a man, but he's not a little boy either.
He's probably the age group intended for this book.
That's exactly right. So his name is Grang, Grang, of the Wolf Clan. And his boss is...
how do you pronounce his name?
Grang. Bragging and banging and... Did I get it right? Yeah, okay.
That's right. Armageddon, Butch?
Yes. That's right. And so they're like, yeah, we're going to get you. You're all going to get yours. So anyway, then we have a little bit of a long tour trek into... Kirk is really trying to win this kid over. Say, look, we're here to help you. We're not here to hurt you. We're not here to challenge you. We're just here to help. We understand you guys are talking about these villains that are coming to take your stuff. We're going to help you fight them. We got big ship with much, big arrows, and we're going to stop them, essentially. I think that's the gist of what he's saying. So Grang, either against his will or not, is leading them deep into the recesses of this cave, which we are led to believe this cave has radioactive properties that keep the ship's sensors from working or the communicators from working. Spock can't read the interior of it, and we assume whoever these raiders are also can't, which is why these guys are hiding out in this cave. So
yeah,
we get a little bit of the Mothman prophecies and all that stuff, but I guess we're not there yet. What else you got in chapter 3?
Well, so then they end up meeting the head guy, and in what is going to be a theme throughout this book, they're not welcome here.
Yep.
We don't want you here.
Yep.
And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and sentence you all to death.
Yep.
And bowmen are everywhere, aimed, arrows poised at our crew. And then Spock gives a nice end of the chapter by saying, "What bowman, Captain Kirk?" And it's like, what? It's all in their mind.
Yeah, everybody else is seeing Bowman but Spock, of course, and we know why, because Spock, we'll see in Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is on to Mithra, but not yet. Talk about burying the lead. The lead is there's no Bowman in the chamber. It's just the moth guy, the bad guy, the shaman, as it were. He's dressed up as a bat. You're as blind as a bat. And it turns out the bowmen are all in their minds. There are probably real tribesmen with real bows, but not in this chamber because you're going to try and kill these guys without risking your warriors, right? So they're hanging out in there. They've got just Grang and this bat guy and the crew and these imaginary bowmen who everybody sees except Spock. The idea is if you believe that bowmen have just shot you full of arrows, you'll die. But Spock has overcome it. Spock has overcome it very much in the way of what do you call it? The specter of the gun, which has not occurred when this book was written, of course. So maybe they got that idea from this book too. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
But they managed. Maybe. But thankfully, Spock memorized the way in. There was a labyrinthine entrance. Yeoman Doris Atkins was saying that they're never going to find their way out, but of course Spock knows the way. It's left, right, up, down, start button. Everybody knows.
That's right.
And then you're out, right? So we go. So
and they beam off, and that's kind of it for that planet. They're like, all right, we're out of here.
And Grang they're like, Grang is like, take me with you, and they're like, there's no room in the black freighter for you, buddy. You're gonna have to stay here, or so they think. Because they beam up to the ship. When they beam up, they find out Cafard! 4 people already put in stasis because if they're not in stasis, they'll die and they'll take the rest of the crew with them.
Well, and I don't know if you mentioned this, Butch, but McCoy is very concerned that it's a contagious, kind of a contagious thing, whether physically or so, I don't know, but it could sweep the crew. So you're worried about it sweeping the crew. Right.
It turns out, did you know, you may or may not know this, but Cafard is actually spelled with a Q. Maybe you didn't know that. Once that idea catches on, everybody just starts falling left and right. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to go crazy too. So we'll find out how it goes. But that's McCoy's way of essentially quarantining people. Is that, you know, if they're just sitting around bored all the time and then eventually they pop off, as soon as they look like they're about to pop off, McCoy just puts them in stasis, which is not safe to do for long periods. But they really have no choice at this point because they're months away from home. So what else can you do? So Sulu, by the way, so they find out that they had a stowaway. Apparently, one of the things they beamed up was about 140 pounds too heavy or whatever. And so it turns out Sulu has smuggled a young boy off of the surface of the planet. I believe that's what's happened, or at least he's willing to take him in as his ward. You know, yes, exactly. So he will. I'm not sure if they're the ambiguously gay duo or not. That's probably a little bit leading, but we'll go from there. So at the very least, Sulu's going to be in charge of helping this kid make some new friends in the crew. He's got the long hair, and he may or may not still have the face paint on, but he's wearing, you know, the loincloth and the skins and stuff like that. And this is exactly the shot in the arm that the crew needed, because all of a sudden they were bored as hell. They don't want to take any classes or join any basket weaving because they've already all done it, and they're too lethargic to have the energy to do it. And all of a sudden this guy shows up and they're like, hey, this is something new, and that's exactly what they're looking for, something new and interesting and different. And so he becomes kind of like the crew's mascot, and is the favorite of the gym instructor for about the first 10 seconds he's in there, right until the gym instructor gets his ass handed to him twice by the guy. He's like, all right, I'm out. You're pretty good at Greco-Roman wrestling for a boy ward of a...
He did a little better than Charlie X, we'll say in the record.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Although Charlie X has a much better finishing move, I'm not going to lie. So, anyway, the important thing is it helps pick up crew morale for a little while. All right, so.
And it gives Kirk an opportunity to be annoyed with Sulu.
Yes, and now
kind of the stern father figure that he gets to be sometimes.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that this book does a pretty good job of showing Kirk as the stern father figure. So that's good. So having just finished the chapter that's titled On to Mithra, we now go to chapter 5 where they actually arrive at Mithra. So what's going on in chapter 5, Rob?
Well, in chapter 5, Welcome with Reservations, which I think they could have called the previous chapter. Now I think about it.
Yes.
They arrive at Mithra, and they somehow set their orbit over a town. I didn't really understand how that works, Butch.
Geosynchronous orbit.
Where you're always over the town.
Yeah, you can do that. It's a certain
going at the exact speed.
It's a certain level of orbit where it's called geosynchronous orbit. Yeah.
All right. Good deal. So, this planet is a theocracy, right?
Oh yeah, paging Jim Baker.
So they beam down, and the priest or monk guy, everybody's grinning. This was really Return of the Archons?
A little Return of the Archons, a little bit This Side of Paradise, yeah.
Yeah. You know, everybody's just kind of walking around, peace to you, brother, right? They have a stupid grin on their face. The priest ends up killing a churl. Did I pronounce that right?
Churl, that's right. Yeah, they're basically serfs. You know, somebody who's not a slave but is not exactly equals. So yeah.
Bones figures out that they're all on psychedelics, a la our Doors podcast or LSD. So they're all tuning in, dropping out, whatever that expression was.
Yep.
And
I wrote down this. It's called anodyne. I wrote down this anodyne thing. Does it make a good mix with scotch? That's what I wrote down. I'll let you know.
And apparently, the way the theocracy keeps control over the populace is once a day, everybody has to take their drugs.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and to prove his point, you know, this main guy has. So Kirk got told to stay away. No, I'm not staying away. I don't want you here. We're coming anyway. All right, you can come down.
Yeah, he has never. This guy's never heard of General Order 1 in there, and I think after the first planet, Kirk's like, "We're going."
Yeah. Well, and I think Kirk's way around all this is all these planets it's Earth people that kind of separated from the Federation that wanted to come out here.
Yep.
So they're not unaware of the Federation or anything like that. But anyway, they come down, they get offered some beverages. Jigov has actually drank his, and so he is spaced out, whacked out, and hands his phaser over to the bad guy. Crazy.
Yeah.
Which, again, is not that out of character for Chekhov, honestly.
Yeah, the rule, say it with me, don't drink the water. I mean, that's
right.
It's literally the rule. I mean, we learned that in Wink of an Eye. We learned that in a lot of things, right? So don't drink the water.
That's right. If your car breaks down in Germany,
yep,
Bavaria, we'll say, I'm trekking, do not drink the water from the creepy doctor. You will wake up as part of a human centipede.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good that they didn't go to that. If it was like 100 Footia, we're not going to the 100 Footia planet. We're not going there. We're not going there. I'm telling you.
Welcome to Millipedia. What? Wait, what? But anyway, so Chekhov's shocking handing over his phaser brings us to Chapter 6, Rat-Napped.
Okay, hold on. Before we get there, I just want to talk about one thing. We get a little bit of a story. There's a little bit of dialogue about how, can you believe it? What kind of religion is this where they treat these people badly? And Spock's like, not all religions are good. In fact, let me tell you about this Vulcan god, Maripol. So we get about 3 pages of Maripol and all the horrible things that it's like, so it's like Maripol eventually translates into bad guys in the Old Testament and Earth kind of thing. So yeah,
it's a type of umbrella.
Yeah, I like this. Let me tell you about this guy, Maripol. Yeah, bad seed, hurt people. I like him already.
No, what was this deal? He killed twins. You had to.
Yeah. Either way, yeah. So, all right. So now Chapter 6. Go ahead. What's the name of Chapter 6? This is great.
Rat-napped.
Rat-napped.
So Jigov is under control of the Supreme Exarch, and the illustration is hilarious because it shows spaced out Chekhov, who looks nothing like Chekhov.
No. Nope. I don't know. Yeah, it's honestly, it's like somebody going, I watched one 40-minute episode with Chekhov in it. Now I'm trying to, and that was last year. It's the only time I've ever seen him. Now I'm trying to draw him from memory. Trust me, as a kid, I grew up doing this, and I understand how hard it is, right? After you saw Star Wars as a 7.5-year-old, you were drawing Star Wars for the next, 6 months, when you're doodling on your piece of paper. And I don't remember what Han Solo looks like. I don't remember what Chewie looks like. But I'm drawing him, so I can totally relate to that. Yeah. Except this guy's getting paid to draw them. So there's that. But we'll give him it. We'll cut him some slack. And we're back. All right. So technical difficulties.
Our feed got rat-napped.
That's exactly what happened. Or whatever it is, exotic animal napped, whatever it is. It's all good. All right, so when last you joined us, we were talking about Chekhov being them not knowing how to draw Chekhov very well from memory. So, but they've drawn him, and there he is. He's under the thrall of the Grand Exarch, and the Exarch is trying to get all of them to give them their stuff. I think he wants their phaser weapons. Maybe is probably what he wants, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just the kind of Captain Tracy thing that would happen that he'd do, if you ask me. So
exactly, and Spock says something like, "Hey, Captain, perhaps that other piece of equipment you have," and he's like, "Oh, this little thing, bloop bloop bloop." Boy, sure, it'd be nice if we could beam out of here. Bing.
Wouldn't it be nice?
So it was nice. It was a classic Star Trek getting out of a jam in a hurry.
Yeah, for sure.
Then this is kind of fun. He tells the transporter tech to use the tractor beam and the transporter to somehow magically recover Jigov's phaser from the planet below. I was like, wait, what? What'd you think of that, Butch?
Well, they're teching the tech. I don't know why they couldn't just beam up the phaser, right? They're like, well, what's a phaser made of? It's got trace elements of that. We'll just detect that and beam that up. Surely they could do that. But of course, we've seen in episode after episode, like Piece of the Action, right, where they're like, oh, I think I forgot my communicator down there on the planet in Piece of the Action. Well, they could have just gone back and beamed that up too, but but they didn't do that. So maybe it's not as easy as I think. But again, I think this is a case of somebody coming up with, if you can't use the transporter to do it and you can't use the tractor beam to do it, what if you use both? So that's kind of cool.
I'm trying to picture what that would possibly look like. I cannot.
That's fine.
But they put their heads together and realize, hey, if the Supreme Exarch and company are having to drug the populace daily, it must be coming from the water supply. Or no, we could put an antidote in the water supply because obviously the effects aren't lasting that long, and so they have to keep taking the drugs. We could put an antidote in there and something that they're using all the time, like water, and that should allow our black freighter of death, street cred to remain intact, and also they're going to be on their own. We're not directly interfering too much, wink, wink, in the overthrow of the government.
Yeah, and then we get what I think is the part where this book lags a little bit. It's like, let's talk way too long about whether we can figure out how to do it, and then talk way too long about whether we have the chemicals on board to do it, and then, oh, by the way, Scotty already did it. Hey, so we're just going to beam this down and put it in the water, and off we go. So, yeah, I think I get what they were trying to do here, the little Scotty and McCoy thing, but, whatever. I thought that was kind of throwaway.
I don't know about you. I never heard Scotty in the show call Dr. McCoy Bones.
No,
Did he?
I don't think so either. But here's what I remember. I remember reading one of those novelizations of one of the episodes or something like that, and they mentioned how Scotty and McCoy are like drinking buddies. And I was like, when did we ever see that? Right? So maybe it's one of those things where it's like backstory that they never got around to putting on screen or whatever. But I don't remember him ever calling him Bones, but I could totally see him calling him Bones. Because I think those are the two guys who never hung out on the show, but definitely should have hung out on the show. You know what I mean? So,
definitely. Well, I could see them hitting a shore leave hard.
Oh yeah, that's exactly it, right? Exactly. Yeah. Not necessarily the place that McCoy has memories of on the last on Planet of Judgment, where he's remembered.
Oh yes, I know the place.
Let's go see.
McCoy's got a mint julep and a southern drawl, and he's blinking his light, and Scotty's clapping and killing whores, and
he's tub thumping. Yeah. Nobody has to tell that about a ding pub crawler how to show appreciation.
That's right.
All right, there you go. So yeah.
The soon-to-be dead prostitute asks Scotty about his money, and Scotty says it's green. I don't know.
So listen, I think what we've concluded and what our good ship and crew has concluded is that neither of these two planets is capable of being the cause of either of these two planets' problems, right? So they're both being raided by space pirates. These guys call them space pirates. The other ones called them something else. But either way, so I guess if it's not A and it's not B, therefore you must conclude.
Yeah. See, and we've learned that neither planet is worth more than a chapter. You get one chapter.
Yeah, that's right.
And so it's on to, with another cafard warning, it's worsening, and a stolen pet rat, we are off to the planet Bavaria for chapter 7 called
Nummer Ein.
Yeah. Interesting name for a chapter.
Number 1, yes, exactly. Yes. Yes, the good old Nummer Ein, I'm sure we're all familiar with him. So it turns out strongmen are popular in the Horatius system. Let's just put it that way. They've got a type. Where Federation rules are kind of thrown out the window. Although this guy, they speak to the leader of the planet, Nummer Ein, and this guy kind of seems to know the Federation rules. He's like, yeah, we actually remember the Federation. And so we can we're going to try and manipulate. I'm imagining the guy from Bread and Circuses like you're saying, oh, but there's your prime directive. Oh, that's too bad. Give me your phasers.
Yeah, that's right.
That guy, except the German
That guy was
version.
one of the great guest stars in the history of the show.
It's like they cast that actor, but for the German episode and not the Roman episode is what they did. They called him Nummer Ein or whatever. So, but yeah.
Well, I thought this was fun.
Yeah.
So they get the guy's telling the Enterprise to get bent.
Basically, yeah.
And Kirk's like, I really want. We were dragged all the way out here in bumfuck universe, and so I would like to at least check the place out. And then the planet attacks the Enterprise for 15 minutes, and this was my favorite illustration of the whole book.
Yeah, the little laser beam coming from the planet and enveloping the Enterprise. Yes,
it felt very Taste of Armageddon, didn't it, Butch?
Oh yeah, that's exactly kind of the weapons they're using. They can reach the Enterprise, but they are not capable of destroying the Enterprise.
Yeah, or even inconveniencing the Enterprise, really.
Yeah, but I mean, they're going to inconvenience them in a sec, right? Because, Kirk and company beam down.
Right, they're going to have dinner. Grudgingly, you get to come for dinner.
Yep. Well, they say,
Kirk
we'll give us your terms and then come down for dinner. We'll throw you a banquet, and now we've got you, kind of thing.
So Kirk decides to bring Greng because they think maybe he could identify if these guys are in fact the Raiders.
Yep.
So it's Kirk, Spock, Bones, Scotty, Rand, and Greng. And what I was thinking was one machine gun could really do a number on our crew.
That's exactly right. Yeah, exactly. You're taking out all Sulu's in charge up in orbit, which usually means they're going to be running from Klingons pretty soon. Usually, but there's no Klingons out here, so
you could literally take out the captain, the first officer, the chief engineer, the chief medical officer, and abroad in one fell swoop.
And abroad, that's exactly right. The captains. It's funny that I wonder if Rand is still in the crew at this point. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. She's on this landing party. That's the important thing. So they go down there, meet number one, Nummer Ein, and they meet his daughter Anna. And then they kind of start to realize, a lot of these people kind of look kind of the same. And they did the math up in orbit. They're like, look, there's no way there could be this many people here, right? We know how many people are on that ship. If all of them were having babies every year, they couldn't make this many people. Where are all these people coming from? So there's the mystery.
They came here with 1,000 people 100 years ago. Now there's 5 billion people.
Yeah. So how are these people all getting here? And maybe the answer is, well, they're going and they're stealing people from the other planets and then bringing them here, right? Maybe that's the answer. But it turns out there's another answer. So.
Well, and we learned
go ahead.
that the planet was founded by the Teutonic elite, right? So we got the Fourth Reich going here.
That's exactly what we have going. Or the fourth and a half Reich. Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah. And so Kirk confronts Herr Führer, or whatever his name is, about the raids and the other 2 planets. And the guy's like, yeah, you got me. Why don't you guys cool off and think about this in your jail cells?
Yeah. Did they remember to put those little transponders under their skin so they can make a laser to shoot their way out of the jail cell?
I'll talk. I can't. No. And
Spock,
and
you're sick. You're very sick, Spock. Oh, yes, that's right.
Sure. Now, this is where it goes very Bread and Circuses.
Oh, yeah.
Because the leader decides, okay, you pick 3 champions. You're going to go against 3 of our champions, and you're going to do it in the arena with gladiator style in front of a live studio audience and television, right? Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, it's very much live tonight in color.
Yeah.
A gladiatorial match.
You and I were wondering if this, in fact, because this book came out in March of '68.
Yep.
Bread and Circuses is from season 2, which was '68.
Yeah.
Right. We're wondering. It hits pretty close to home. There's a lot. If it's a coincidence, these 2 stories are real close in this chapter, including the phrase "bread and circuses" used in the book. So I don't know. Anyway,
would you care to guess? Would you care to guess the airing date for Bread and Circuses?
Yes, I would.
I
wouldn't care to.
March 15th, 1968.
That's crazy.
Rip for the headlines.
Book and episode arrive at the same time with the same stuff.
Yeah.
And Roddenberry read this book because he didn't like it.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's some idea cross pollination going on. I don't know which inspired which. I'm kind of guessing that maybe this book had something to do with that episode, but I don't know that.
It's hard to say. You never know exactly. Word gets around.
I don't know how fast the author could bang out. I suppose he could.
It's like there's always 2 Robin Hood movies or 2 asteroid killing planets movies or whatever. Right. There's always 2. So somebody's
Buck's
working.
Life and Ants at the same time.
So this guy tried to sell some scripts to Star Trek, and they're like, "Oh, no thanks, but hey, Bill, we got something for you to write, buddy."
So our champions are going to be Kirk, Spock, and Grang.
Grang, yeah. Scotty's pissed that he's not going to get to do it, but they need Scotty to be tech the tech. McCoy can't do it because they're going to need him to fix them up between the fights. And besides, they're both older, and Rand can't do it because, well, you're and I'm and that actually makes sense. If they'd have brought Yeoman Martha Landon down, I remember her kicking ass in the Apple. They could have brought her down, but no, they didn't.
True.
Or if they'd have brought what's the chick from Aliens? If they brought Vasquez down, they could have had her. They could have had her fight with him.
Yeah, that's right. You ever been mistaken for a yeoman? No, have you? So this is kind of fun. So I was totally picturing the episode Bread and Circuses here, which takes us to Chapter 8, Mysteries Solved.
That's right. Yep, round 1 is an easy win for all 3 of them, it seems like. Kirk knocks out his guy and then goes to help Grang, but Grang has already finished his guy, so they turn around to help Spock, and Spock's like, yeah, what? Look, you're looking at me? Yeah, this guy's been down for like 14 minutes now.
So this is fun, Butch, because we got introduced in the last chapter to the word doppelganger, right?
Yep.
And you and I know that that's a word that's thrown around fairly commonly.
Yep.
These days.
Yep, for sure.
I wonder how common it was in 1968.
Yeah.
Because the crew's even told, oh, those guys are doppelgangers. Nobody really thinks much of it. You and I would think copy or look-alike or something, right?
Yep.
But it turns out that this is going to be a problem now for the crew because they're in round 2 after an easy round 1. All 3 guys, their opponents look fresh.
Yeah,
it's a little harder in round 2.
Yeah, it's like they're a little bit tougher, a little bit less winded and stuff like that. They still win round 2, but it's harder. And then they get a minute between rounds, so now it's about to be round 3, and these guys come out and they're fresh, and they're like, "Dude, I know the guy I took out is not getting back up. He's going to be on crutches for a while, and yet there he is. So what the fuck?" And so, we're putting pieces together, right? So it's like, well, yeah.
So it turns out the doppelgangers round 3 is very taxing. It turns out the doppelgangers are kind of, I don't know if they're clones or zombies or replicants or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
They use the word zombies, which I thought was fun.
Yeah, I think that's, speaking of words that maybe didn't mean anything in 68, right? It's like maybe, well, this is not, I guess it's late 68 before Night of the Living Dead comes out. And they don't use the word zombie in there either, but, it's like, anyway. It's one of those things, right? So,
yeah. So then, in a fun plot twist, Numer Ein, he is a doppelganger. He was like, "This is not scheduled for 15. This is as many rounds as it's going to take."
Yep.
Right. I booked you the full hour on the Late Show. What was that quote from Bread and Circuses about the?
We're going to do a special on you, or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so. Numer Ein is very kind in that he says, "You know what? We'll take a 1-hour break to give you time to foil my plan, and then we'll resume." And that gives our crew enough time to meet up with Anna, find the room where these clones or doppelgangers or whatever are programmed or created or whatever it is, and destroy that machine. And get rid of the danger. Yep. Got any thoughts on that chapter, Butch?
I think it kind of is one of those things where it's a bit of a another boss battle. This one literally a boss battle to the death. In this case, they kind of like escape the other two, but this one they're going to take out because in pulling the red lever, they blow up the machine. They actually have her call up to her and say, "Hi, take a look to scan this and see if the computer can figure out how to foil this machine." And they're told by Anna, the Numer Ein's daughter, that this Numer Ein's daughter, I guess, that this is the last working one. They don't know how to fix them, and they don't know how to make more of them. So this is going to end the cloning facilities, as it were. And so they blow it up good, and the explosion takes out Numer Ein, and so they manage to escape once again. Our good ship and crew are no longer in peril. So they've apparently, the idea is with this, they've taken out the cloning device, which the other, I still don't know how. I assume because Numer Ein's gone and the cloning device is gone, they think that they're no longer a threat to invade these other planets. So
yeah,
did they solve that problem?
And it sounds like the doppelgangers are not going to be a threat to the real population anymore, and so they're going to have to pick up the pieces, much like the previous planet.
Yep.
And kind of sort things out on their own.
It's freedom. You'll like it.
Exactly. And so that gives our crew permission to get the hell out of there.
Yep.
And start the slow walk back to Federation space.
Boring, guitar stringless, ping pong ball-less walk.
Yeah.
Back to Federation space. That's right. What are they going to do? So they get back to the ship. Chapter 9. I did not write down the name of Chapter 9. What's Chapter 9
Mickey
called?
again.
Mickey again. That's right. I guess somebody slipped me a Mickey, and that's why I forgot. So now there's 40 crew members in stasis, and Kirk's like, we're not going to be able to run the ship.
That's a tenth of the crew.
That's exactly right. So, but he's like, look, we have no choice. If we leave them awake, they're going to go crazy. These people have nothing to do and nothing to distract them, and that's our problem. And then it turns out that somebody figures out Mickey is still on the loose, and he might have bubonic plague. Bubonic plague.
Outrageous.
1300s.
And much to Butch's chagrin,
yes,
there is nothing in the data banks about how to combat bubonic plague, which I know you were blowing a blood vessel.
Yeah.
There.
Do you know why? Because bubonic plague is a bacteriological infection. You know what'll fight it? Any antibiotic will fight it. You don't need like the vaccine or something. You don't need to have Operation Warp Speed. And where's Pfizer? Get Johnson & Johnson on the phone. No, you just need a Z-Pack and you're done, right? I'm done, right? Do we have those? Do we need to reinvent those? I guess they could have gone with we just don't have any more antibiotics on board because, we ran out of supplies. Blah, blah,
They
blah.
could have done that. They've been beating that drum. I mean, they're down to eating like, Wonder Bread. And, they're out of everything.
Wonder Bread and the hard cheese sandwiches. So I'm at this point I'm reading this book and going, oh, I cannot believe these people are making this grievous error. I mean, I get why Kirk might not know that, or why somebody else might not know that, but surely McCoy and Spock know this. Surely they know. And so I'm going, this is just BS. I'm calling BS on it. I'm so ready to be angry at this. And then we get a very ridiculously long, drawn-out hunt for a mouse. And I'm like, is that the happy ending we're going to go for? Are we hoping for a happy ending where they kill a mouse? Is that the happy ending we're going for?
Not only that, but I mean, they gassed the entire ship.
Yes, they're all wearing the things, the air suits and stuff like that. Yeah.
They finally do kill the mouse. They phaser the shit out of it and then blow it out an airlock.
I know. I mean, that's the happy ending to the story. And I'm like, and all because they're completely wrong on a disease thing. But the important thing is it takes months to do this. This rat leads them on a wild goose chase. I'm sorry, I'm mixing my metaphors. A rat race, a goose chase. Let's call the whole thing off. And so they make it back, and then in the epilogue or at the very end of the chapter, we learn something important, which is McCoy and Spock already knew that they have a cure for bubonic plague. So even if this rat has it, which, let's face it, the rat, just because it's a rat doesn't mean it has bubonic plague, right?
Right.
Well, it used to be on ships in the 1300s, so it's got to be on this rat from whatever. So they have given the crew this big mouse hunt to go through. There was a movie like this, wasn't there? Mouse Hunt or whatever. Like Nathan Lane is running around.
Well, I mean,
nobody's ever
the
seen Nathan Lane and William Shatner in the same room together. I think they might be the same guy. So it's
well, you remember, Butch, the traps they laid for this thing. There's a giant boot. There's a ball that rolls through the corridors. The net falls on. I mean, the whole thing. The mouse was seen speeding away on a motorcycle. I mean, all this stuff. It's
he wears he's wearing a sombrero, for God's sake.
That's right. It does the trick. The crew barely, by the skin of their teeth, makes it back in time. Next time we won't go so far out in the ocean.
This is my thing. This is my thing. The crew is tired and worn out, and they're tired of sitting around doing nothing all day. So what we need to do? We need to put them on a beach, on a lawn chair in a beach, and let them do nothing all day for a week. That'll solve it. The vitamin D, maybe. I guess that's what it is. I get it. I'm thinking, it's like if you take your average Grang age kid these days and say, by the way, you can't go outside for a month, but your PlayStation's in your room. They're like, anyway, well, I'll see you after a month. Make sure you deliver Hot Pockets twice a day, and I'm good. We're good. You don't need to ever see me again or interact with me again. I'm granging, I'm banging and kanging, and that's what I do. So,
well, look at us, Butch. We haven't been able to really go out and do much in a year, and we've gone completely bananas. I bought KISS tickets, for Christ's sakes. I mean, I could see how the crew is getting cabin fever, stir crazy, and they just need a break and get out and get some fresh air. And
dude, you not only bought KISS tickets, you listened to KISS's entire catalog and you started to like him. If that's not space cafard, I don't know what is.
Exactly.
I did not think you were going to become the KISS convert. That's what I'm saying. It's good for you on that.
I was the last person I would have ever picked on the planet to like KISS. I have enjoyed it, but it just shows what having your normal routine disrupted and it's one thing to sit around and do nothing if you want to do that, but if there's no options, it gets to you. That's true, I suppose.
You can only play ping pong so many times with a broken ping pong ball.
That's right. So I thought it was. I mean, I thought that was all kind of timely. 50 years later, like we're all just everybody's got cabin fever, getting a little edgy, getting a little listless, getting a little irritable.
Yeah, that's it. That's a great point. It's a very much ripped from the headlines kind of a story. So overall, I'm going to say in this book, I think I'm not 100% pleased with exactly everything I saw in this. But I would say I think that was on the better half of the books we've read so far. It's breezy, we don't get any gratuitous, crazy stuff, murder, death, kills. We don't get much of that, although there's, no gutting and drawing and quartering like you do in some of the other books. We don't get any of the crazy, unusual NC-17 action like we do in some of the other books. Anyway, so the villains are interesting, but not interesting enough. We have 3 of them, so that's exactly kind of what you want. You want to have none of the villains will be interesting enough to be like the main villain for the whole thing. None of the 4 villains. Again, Mickey is the key villain in this, right? So, but yeah, I thought it was quite a diversion. So, what do you think?
So I have it so far. I think it's the best one.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I'm waffling. So give me your rankings from 5 to 1 then.
Number 5, Price of the Phoenix. Even with Rutger Hauer, it was a little much of the Kirk Spock Bond. Give it a fucking rest. Number 4, Spock Must Die. Number 3, Planet of Judgment. Number 2, Spock Messiah, which has some good stuff in it. Also some round the bend bananas stuff. And then number 1. Keeping it pretty close to the vest, Mission of Horatius.
Man, I'm gonna have to sit here and say I think I agree with your rankings. I mean, I might waffle a little bit between 2 and 3 a little bit, but I think I'm okay with those rankings. So, this as hard as it is to imagine, I think we're both Mission to Horatius fans.
I
which
liked
is
it. I
exciting.
thought it was
So that's
fun.
great.
And...
That's a great diversion. So the question then is, when next we go hopping on this, what's our next novel?
Oh, let me look here. I took the liberty of printing out a list of all the books. So let's see here. I just have to consult because I was, for some reason, not prepared to do that. Next up is Vulcan! Exclamation point. You thought we were over our Spock fascination. Not so fast, my friend.
Vulcan, as in this is still like a Bantam book. Wow.
This is a Bantam, 1978. So,
wow.
About a year after Planet of Judgment comes Vulcan! Exclamation point. So yeah, Kathleen Sky's going to take her shot at a Spock fantasy.
All right. Well, if that's not enough. If an exclamation point is not enough to get your attention, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what is. So
run riot and go buy that book. And
that's right. Yes, are you getting it? I'm getting it. We already used that with this episode. So so thanks again to all of our literary fans who are joining us for the Journey to Bantam. This is our 5th episode. And join us again in a few weeks or months when we finally get around to reading Vulcan with an exclamation point.
All right. Sounds good. So
and once again, happy birthday to my...
Put your hand in your pocket and grab onto your rocket. We're not doing pocketbooks. We're doing Bantam. And live long in podcast.
Yeah, and live long and happy birthday in podcast. So there we go.
Thank you. Thank you very much.